for that.
How well did she play today?
I thought she played the best tennis in her career. She's 33 and, she's going for it at a late age. So that's good for her to keep going for it and playing so well. And actually, I guess it's inspiring. So, but yeah, I think she played literally out of her mind.
And what was it working from your side?
I don't think I played that bad. I made a more unforced errors than I normally would make. But I mean, I think she just played really well. She did not want to lose today, and neither did I, incidentally, but she really didn't either.
Serena, you've been so adept at pulling yourself out of precarious positions throughout this run. Was there any moment where you said, I know I can do this, and was there a moment where you said, maybe I can't?
No.
Was a lot of pressure for you going into this?
No, I told you guys I don't feel pressure. I never felt pressure, and I think, I don't know, I'd never felt that pressure to win here. I said that from the beginning.
Did you feel tight though?
I mean, I made a couple of tight shots, to be honest, but maybe just about two, but that I think is just for me in any normal match. You make two tight shots, and other than that, I don't think I was that tight.
Serena, do you think there's a uniqueness to her game that made her different from your other opponents thus far in the Open?
No, I've played everyone that came to the net this tournament, so she had a couple of slices of everyone I've played at slice, so no.
How did you feel going into the first set? We've had so many three-set victories in this did you still feel that you can win that going to the third, or feel very good?
Of course.
Serena, especially in the third set, it looked like you were trying to fire yourself up so much and then calm yourself down. Were you trying to find the equilibrium of where worked for you as far as...
No, I was just trying to win points at that point in the match. Last questions?
How did you get over this kind? How did you get over this? What's the key to just forget about it now?
I mean, anyone else want to ask a different question than that?
You said prior to the tournament that you took so much happiness from the fact that you did your second Serena Slam.
Yeah.
Is that really? I mean, like, let's focus on the positive, and is that where your head is at right now?
Well, thank you. Yeah, no, I was really, like I said, I felt really happy to get that win at Wimbledon, and did win 3 Grand Slams this year. So, yeah, and I won 4 in a row, so it's pretty good. And, yeah, so it's definitely the positive. Thank you.
Thank you.
And so Serena Williams exiting after a brief exchange with the press, and one can imagine how difficult it was to sit there and even attempt to answer the questions, coming off unimaginable and perhaps unexpected disappointment. As much as Roberta Vinci said she couldn't have believed this morning when she got up that she would beat Serena Williams, there was no one else who believed it as well. When you look at, I guess, all of these Grand Slams, and that she had been pushed at times, when you look at this last couple of weeks and what we've seen in particular, with the nerves showing, with the trouble with the serve, with her not knowing how she's going to react until she steps out on that court, what do you make of this performance today by Serena?
I think we're all
and
in a little bit of shock.
I don't want to take away from Roberta Vinci.
First of all, I want to apologize to the Italian players, Panetta and Vinci, because I didn't really give them that much of a chance, and it's just, I just can't believe it. And I think at the end of the day, we've seen Serena play in Grand Slams like this before, but we've marveled at the fact that she's been able to pull herself out of it, and she's been able to get to that vintage Serena level of play. And we've seen that 12 times in Grand Slams this year. And for her not to be able to get to that next level, that was the biggest surprise to me.
Well, while it was so easy to just feel this was Serena's major to win and Grand Slam to win, there were certain signs all year round that she was struggling at times with these performances, whether it was all the loss of sets, whether it was her serve in Toronto and Cincinnati, which really concerned me coming into here, given the fact that she would feel more pressure here than she has at any other time in her extraordinary career. We saw it a couple times today with a decel, some double fault. She still served a ton of aces. But there's something a little unsteady for the greatest server of all time when you know under pressure recently that the serve hasn't always been there. So I think that played a big role in this match, and Vinci was spectacular after the first set.
Well, she couldn't get that first serve in at times, and we talk about her being so clutch and being able to turn it up another level, and we even talked about her doing extra work on her serves, and it did appear, Pam, as if some of those service issues that she had straightened them out enough here as she was approaching the finish line, certainly to beat an unseeded player.
That last set against Maddox Sands, she served well. The match, Madison Keys, even against her sister. There's 2.5 matches that she looked like she was really finding her form, and that's why it was really surprising today. But then again, she played 2 power players, and then Vinci is a lot of feel and a lot of touch and a lot of variety, and I think it was a totally different game.
A lot more time to think. Being courtside, I was struck by how much more time Serena had to play her shots. And speaking of so much time, let's just reflect a little bit how much time in the middle of the second week of a major, when you start to hit stride and you're used to a certain routine of playing every other day. She was in the half of the draw. She played Venus Tuesday night. She was always supposed to have 2 days off. Well, the rain yesterday, she got thrown a curveball in her schedule, in her routine. So she had to have an extra day and come out at a time of day earlier than she had come out at all in this U.S. Open, with the shadows very different. The sun came into play. So this was a very different feel of a match with Vinci to play Panetta. All the other top players were gone.
But the momentum, you're right. I mean, it was the momentum. She had it going, and then yesterday it rained, and maybe that kind of put a hiccup into it. But
yeah, she didn't come out here to hit, and it had played this way, the script. If Serena was at the top of her game, no one could beat her. If she's not at the top of the game, the person on the other side of the net would have to have the match of their life to beat her. That's what happened today with Roberta Vinci. It's an upset that will be compared to others in sports, whether it be Buster Douglas and Mike Tyson or Villanova, Georgetown, the Miracle on Ice, what have you. But it was an upset of epic proportions, and one that is really felt, certainly because one would think, Mike and Mary Jo, that turning 34 next month, that this is not a chance that Serena Williams may have again to achieve this Grand Slam, something that no man or woman has done since 1988.
And Hannah, you were talking about those sports upsets, and you mentioned the Miracle on Ice, the 1980 Lake Placid U.S. Olympic hockey team beating the Russians. To a similar extent, that was a semifinal. They had to come back on Sunday morning and win the gold medal, did the U.S., Mike Eruzione, Jim Craig in that group, and then Roberta Vinci will have to come back less time, 9 o'clock Italian time, 3 o'clock Eastern tomorrow here on ESPN to try to win the title against her countrywoman, Flavia Panetta. But Pam went through a couple of the things that we were discussing during the break and while we were watching Serena. Somewhere on the list between reasons and excuses are all of those things. Do you think the break in rhythm, supposed to be last night, turns out to be today, 2 days? She doesn't come here yesterday during the rain out, essentially, to practices off-site, to have a hit. You think any of those contribute to just the feel around this?
It could have. I mean, before the match, I said nothing is going to be able to stop Serena. The weather, the fact that she had the extra day off, the fact that she was playing a different style of opponent. You had the shadows. You had a little, more wind today. But perhaps it did. I mean, when you think about it, it was just that she was fighting herself. I mean, she was fighting herself even when she was winning. When she won the first set, started off shakily in the second set. She gets up a break in the third, and she still, you could tell her in the face, she was breathing. She just wanted to get to the finish line, but she almost wanted it to be given to her. She was hoping that Vinci was going to give her the mistakes. It has happened in the past.
Yeah.
And gosh, Vinci was solid. Vinci just didn't play the part today for Serena. So you just saw what tension, nerves, stress, combination of having to wait, thinking about more of what's at stake can do. And as it got closer to the finish line, we saw more of the tension.
And just some inside baseball, what happens with media and speaking to athletes. You love to speak to an athlete right after because the emotion is raw. And that's, I think, a lot of what you saw there for especially team sports is a cooling off period where the media can't
I
go in
think
for a while.
Serena could have used a cooling off period. She needed a little time to just kind of get a little perspective of what just happened. And she was so short and abrupt with the media. She just wanted to get out of here. I mean, her first instinct was, let me get to the locker room and let me get in the car so I can just avoid everyone, which is understandable, but I also think a little bit tough.
The optics of it, yeah.
Exactly.
It didn't change.
No.
Right to press, heading out. And you can only imagine the thoughts that will happen the next 24 hours of what might have been still an incredible season, but it was almost legendary. Stopped today at the U.S. Open.